Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the use of Autodesk Inventor 3D modeling software. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is called our desktop, and if we click this up, this is our Windows function right here. It's a Windows button, or go ahead and lower left hand corner, it's a Windows icon. Again, we can find Inventor there, but your tabletop computers actually have it right here. Autodesk Inventor, it's an orange eye. Go ahead and double click that. When you double click that, you will have a screen that opens up that looks something similar to this. If you have some other dialog boxes that show up and open up, you can go ahead and just close those down and move forward. What we're going to go ahead and take a look at today is the part, the drawing, presentation, and assembly. Your instructors already discussed this with you on day one of opening up Inventor. Today we're just going to go ahead and hit the part function. So once we click on part, please realize there's other options for us to go ahead and open up a part as well. If I move the screen up, right up here, this orange I, this letter I, also provides us an opportunity to open up a part. Just like that. Now, the following days where we've saved something and we want to come back and take a look at something, we can go ahead and use the open function. The open function will allow us to go and open our K drive. Our K drive is where we save all of our documentation. So today we're simply going to use that part function. So if we click here, I would open up an additional part. So I can do that too. Now as you see on the screen, there's a cascade effect. We've got the first part that I opened up before, and now part number 6 that I opened up again as well. Now your two part sections might say part 1, part 2. That part is that naming component is not a big deal. We can go ahead and rename that as soon as we save that individual part. I'm going to drag the screen down. I'm going to show you a little bit down below here. Down at the very bottom you can see all these different parts that I've either opened up or I've got in succession. They're working. Now I've got some 6th grade parts in here doing light boxes, and I've also got some parts for 7th grade. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at just designing a part. Straight up, basic, simple part. I'm going to move this over, and I'll just leave this cascaded underneath here so you can kind of see what's all going on. I'm going to move it over to identify this component first. If you go over and take a look at this part here and you see that there is a home, what that identifies is simply repositioning your part just in case you misplaced it, zoomed in, zoomed out, whatever the case is, and I'll show that to you in just a moment. Alright. Step 1. We're always going to go ahead and start with a two-dimensional sketch. If we click the down arrow button, we have the option 2D, 3D. We're going to go ahead and go 2D sketch. Just like writing in your notebook or sketching in your notebook or painting or whatever the case is, it's always height and a width. Okay, that's all we're going to do. Okay. Now this comes in and looks kind of complex, but if you don't click on anything and you just hover over the top of each panel, you'll notice that it has an XY, YZ, and an XZ. These are our planes, and they extend out indefinitely. Today we're going to go ahead and select XY plane. Now your screen might look a little bit different. It might be blue with the white lines on it. It almost looks like graph paper. I changed mine so it's a little bit more high definition once we actually get to the drawing. So keep in mind, it is the same exact item. Same exact screen. I'm going to pick this up right now so you can kind of see what's going on and where I find things. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select my rectangle. In selecting a rectangle, I like using a 2-point center to get us started. Now there is a reason for all the other ones that are here, but keep in mind, just to get us started, rectangle, 2-point center. I'm going to go ahead and identify where it says number 1. That number 1 area is identifying the spot where we want to start a rectangle, and it will move out symmetrically or the same in all directions. Now that yellow point right there is our origin. 0, 0 mark. XY, that's our 0, 0 mark. As soon as we bring our cursor over there, it goes to green. Once it goes green, we can go ahead and click, and then we can drag out our shape. I'm just going to go ahead and open it up and make it approximately half the size of the screen, and will be just fine. Now we're going to assign this right here a dimension. Okay? Anything that we create must be dimensioned. As we click that, I'm going to stretch this out. Now, right now, all these numbers seem like it's a really big number, but the fact of the matter is it's 0.87 or 0.837. So that's less than an inch. So that's about the size of your fingernail right now. So we're going to go ahead and adjust that, and we're going to go 0.75. That's what your instructor had showed you earlier. Opportunity to take a look. Once we click on that, if for some reason this dimension here is way too far out to one side or way too close, we can use the move function. So if we click move, we select. If I actually want to bring this in, or if I want to move it out, I can do so. A good frame of reference is as we take a look and we start dimensioning this, just a comfortable distance away from here. Again, this looks a little bit too far, and this right here is just way too close. Okay. Again, there's no precise dimension it needs to be, just comfortably away, easy enough to see. We're going to go back up to dimension again. Now we're going to go ahead and dimension this one. Set this one up. This dimension needs to be 2.25. Punch that in, hit enter, or hit the green check mark. And we go ahead and we now have a dimension. The blue line that's identified in white, that is a rectangle. This line and this line are parallel. This line and this line are parallel. Remember I talked about that home button? We're going to go ahead and hit that home button. What that's going to do is it's going to kick us back into a home view, which is called an isometric home view. Isometric meaning equal. Up on the main board, your instructor has put up, sketched up a couple of drawings. Remember, even though we're looking at it in an isometric two-dimensional view, right now we have not added a third dimension yet. That's our next step. We're going to go ahead and hit Finish Sketch. But before we do that, I want you to come over here and take a look. We have already identified in our tree of work that our sketch number 1, this is our sketch number 1. If we click on it, we can go ahead and identify that it's already, that's the one that we're currently working on. Okay? Here's an undo button. If we mess something up, we can simply hit undo. It's not a big deal. You always have to check to make sure that you've got what you want appropriately dimensioned is such. So if I made a mistake and I just want to go ahead and put it back in, I can do so. On to Finish Sketch. Up here, there is a whole bunch of different tools that we can use. But for right now, we want to use 3D Model. 3D Model and Extrude. Once we go ahead and click it, if there's only one sketch on our screen, this will automatically extrude to a 1-inch dimension. Now, if you don't want that to happen, if you have more than one sketch on your screen, you'll have to actually select the box that you want it to extrude. Now, I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just a little bit. I use a scroller ball. I'm going to grab this arrow. I'm going to pull the arrow, and I'm going to push the arrow. Now, that's a negative direction. Here's a positive direction. This would be an extrusion, an additive extrusion. This would be a cut extrusion, okay, because we're going the opposite side of the plane. So right now, it really doesn't truly matter for this particular project, but keep in mind, with this product here in our 6th grade, we want to go to 8 inches. So once we have this, our dimension, it's off to one side and we can't see it, we're going to go ahead and hit our home button, and that will refocus it. If for some reason you hit the home button and you get something that doesn't look like that, and let's say it looks like this, you can always adjust and click on a corner or a cube, part of the cube, to make it twist and turn around to the way you like it. Okay. This is a navigation wheel or hand tool, zoom in and out, orbit. All these different tools are here available for us. But for right now, we're just getting started. So, our dimension. This dimension here would be 0.75. This dimension right here would be 2.25, and this dimension here showing our depth is 8 full inches. Once you've got that completed, you can go ahead and I'm going to pull the screen down. Right now you can obviously see that we're working on part number 6. We get a preview of it. It shows up right there, and it's also in white. So right now, if it's time to save our work, we are going to go ahead and go right up to the orange eye, down to Save As, click. Now this is a little bit different for all of you. It looks different, but the thing of it is, the documentation is just the same. The words are the same. We're going to go ahead and take a look at class MS. Again, the K drive. Once you get into the K drive, you find Würzburger, find whatever trimester you are in, and then obviously your class and then your name. Once you've got that completed, you will be saving it using the appropriate name for each and every part. Thanks for paying attention. Go ahead and go to work.